Hey everyone! In this video we're going to look at problem B on page 51. So problem B, we need to simplify tangent x divided by cotangent x. So just like the last problem, we want to look at the reciprocal identities right here and see if we can change anything in this problem so that things cancel out or simplify. So first, let's look at tangent again. So just like the last problem, we know that tangent is defined over here as sine over cosine. So I'm going to go ahead and replace tangent here with sine over cosine. So we have sine divided by cosine for tangent divided by cotangent x. Notice if we have sine over cosine divided by cotangent, nothing really cancels out here. So I'm going to go ahead and also define cotangent using our reciprocal identities. Cotangent is defined as cosine over sine. Kind of the opposite of tangent, where it's sine over cosine. Cotangent is cosine over sine. Also notice that if I divide sine over cosine by cotangent, we're going to have a fraction divided by a fraction. So I'm actually going to go ahead and write it like this to make it easier. So divided by cotangent. We found that cotangent was the same thing as cosine divided by sine. So I'll go ahead and rewrite cotangent as cosine over sine. Okay. So just to review what I did, I took tangent, changed it to sine over cosine, since tangent is defined as sine divided by cosine. And then I divided sine over cosine by cotangent. Cotangent is defined as cosine over sine. Okay, so now we rewrote this division problem as this kind of division problem. So sine over cosine divided by cosine over sine. Now remember when we're dividing it by a fraction, we need to change it to multiplication and take the reciprocal of the fraction. In Delta Math, they call that keep, change, flip, because we want to keep our first term, or sine over cosine in this case. We want to change our division to multiplication. And we want to flip our fraction, or take the reciprocal. Okay. And now we just multiply straight across. Remember that some number times itself is that number squared. So sine times sine is the same thing as sine squared. Divided by, and on the bottom we have cosine times cosine, so that's the same thing as cosine squared. So now we have sine squared divided by cosine squared. This can also be written as sine over cosine squared. This is the same thing as this, because when you square a fraction, you have to square the top and the bottom. Okay, now sine over cosine looks familiar. Remember that sine divided by cosine is the same thing as tangent. So we can actually write our answer as tangent squared, because our fraction is squared. Again, since sine divided by cosine is the same thing as tangent, I rewrote sine over cosine as tangent. Since it's squared, we also have to square tangent. So our answer is tangent squared. And that's simplified. Remember that we could use the definition of tangent and rewrite it as sine over cosine, but that's actually exactly what we had before. So we know we can't really do anything else or cancel anything else out, so we're done. Our answer is simplified as much as possible. And that's it for problem B. In the next video, I'll go over problem C. Until then, see ya.